So, different background, but today we went to the pet store to help Folsom through some overwatering issues because she doesn't have good drainage in her pot. We need a new pot. Got a pretty big bag of moss right here, but Imaginatarium because none of the stores, because last time I checked Safeway, they didn't have any soil stuff or moss, and moss is a great, what's it called? Is a great substrate for orchids since, you know, it collects moisture, so it'll take some of the moisture in and constantly feed the orchid whenever it needs, and it'll aerate their roots, which is really necessary for an orchid to be aerated and not keep their roots grounded and compact in the substrate like other plants. They need more aeration. Already said that. And a big surprise. So this new guy right here, this is Scarlet, and I didn't plan on getting him, but I loved him so much because of his color. He's a copper male, and that back there, right there, that's Ash, or female beta. They're not flaring at each other, which is a good sign. They're just checking each other out. But so yeah, in that temporary holding tank that Scarlet's in right now, you have a little clump of Java moss and a little itty bitty snail. Haven't named him yet. It's hard to name all of the snails because there's so many of them. Excuse me. So to feed the snail, I put in, well, not to feed the snail, but to keep the calcium levels up for the snail shell to be healthy. I put in little itty bitty crushed eggshells that have been boiled, and the protein membrane from the egg had been taken off by me. And so he's not eating yet, but that's usual for a new beta. And I keep saying beta because, well, it is spelt beta. I've been saying beta for a very long time, and when I say beta, people don't know what I'm talking about. So what I did for Folsom to help her through the sunburn, by the way, thanks Kylie, my friend, good friend. She did some research for me, found out a step-by-step guide, and what I did was I trimmed the fully dead leaves, trim, and I it's really hot. So I keep messing with my hair because my face is really hot. But trimmed all the leaves that were beyond return and the stems that were beyond return, and I watered her the same amount but more often, and that's what led to the root rot. So while she is over the sunburn, she has another problem with root rot. And you can kill root rot with hydrogen peroxide. Which is a common household thing for cuts and stuff, cleaning cuts and stuff. And I didn't have any hydrogen peroxide, so I just again cut off some of the roots that were past return, that were all mushy and rotten. Pulled them out, and I had to replace some of the moss that I had with more moss, because the moss was very disgustingly, grotesquely, it had sucked up so much water to the point that it looked like it was dried up, but you touched it and it was like a sponge. And if you squeezed it, all the water would pour out like a sponge. Sorry, just spit. So yeah, I'm gonna water her a lot less. And what I did in the meantime, if there ever comes a problem or I ever need to switch out moss again for Folsom, is this little guy is the buttercup that Scarlet came in. So it has nutrient-rich fish water, and I crushed some eggshells on it, so it's also calcium-rich. So the next time I change the moss, I'll also be fertilizing it. And this ice cube, let me see if I can get it. It's kind of hard to do this on a phone camera. This ice cube right here, that's homemade fish food, and it has the least amount of the fish food, but which is why I chose it to put it on there, and it'll melt. And as it melts, what I put with the fish food to turn it into ice was the fish water from the baby tank, which you saw on Instagram as I posted that the babies are now old enough to sell. And yeah, so that's the end right now. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah, so this moss will be very fertilized and nutrient rich when I put it in Folsom's pot, and hopefully soon we can get a new pot, or my next door neighbor offered to drill a hole, but we don't, in her current pot, but we don't have, what's it called? And sorry for the scratching and stuff. I have this thing with my OCD that makes me pick at my skin a lot. And it's very hard to stop, especially when you're sweaty. But, yeah, my next door neighbor offered to drill a hole in her pot because she has a drill for some reason for her pots, her plant pots. And, but to do that, we need to get some sort of drainage tray so the water doesn't just go straight on the table. And can't put her outside because we saw what that did. Sunburn. Oh, also, something happened when I came back from Mass. I had to put the adult fish, so I switched to adult guppies into the baby tank because I didn't want to scoop out the babies again because that was very tiring. And the adult male guppy, which my fiance named Easy E. I love you. And he was going through a bit of trouble. He's the red cobra with the silver body. But yeah, I thought he was sick because his tail looked smaller for some reason. And so I separated him, and by doing that, I gave him a lot of anxiety, and his tail got bent. So I looked online, and I got really scared that he might have gotten this thing called bent tail disease or something like that. But it turns out he was just stressed, and I put him back in the tank with the adults. And I realized that I should have done that because that water was completely clean anyway, because it was understocked for the time being on the vacation. And yeah, this morning he got back to regular. And he's doing all well. Everybody's doing well. Sorry, just looking at Scarlet. He's so beautiful. And also Ash. She's so beautiful. I think I witnessed a snail laying eggs earlier. But I don't know, because snail still hasn't moved from that spot. It's definitely not dead because I saw her shell moving, like she was twisting around and stuff. But it will be fun to see if she did lay eggs, because the snails, I think they stopped laying eggs. Actually, no. Yeah, no. But anyway, The reason that the Java moss and the snail are in there is to help with the filtration, because that tiny 1.6 gallon tank, while better than the Betta Bowl, has no filtration, which I'm planning to get one of those USB air stones. No, not air stones. Air pumps from Aquarium Co-op pretty soon for that, because that tank, we originally bought to be a, temporary housing tank and a hospital tank. So yeah. On the vacation, we visited an aquarium. That was really nice. Didn't see any humu humu nuku nuku apua there. And so that was a little bit sad. But we did get to see a SEAL training, which was awesome. And we saw this movie, really hilarious movie called Stuber. And bought a lot of books. And I did buy the complete collections of H.P. Lovecraft, because I do run a game of Call of Cthulhu with a few of my friends, and yeah, it'd be interesting to read all of those stories and get more ideas, and it's just awesome because a lot of those stories, like Cthulhu, pronounced Cthulhu in his personal mythos, but Cthulhu is a Sumerian legend. It has a lot of Sumerian mythos, and yeah, it's great mythology, which is awesome to see English writers writing about things other than, popular religions and stuff. Not gonna mention I think so, So, yeah. I also ran a Call of Cthulhu game with my family. That was pretty fun. It didn't go as expected, but it was pretty cool. What else did we do? We did go to the beach, and I chased down a seagull for my grandpa's fiance. Her chips, fries, also chips in European countries. I'm not sure about all of them, but yeah, also chips. So that's all that happened recently. Thanks for listening and watching. And yeah, we did go to the Cape, and we did do some family and friend things that were awesome. Okay, enough, Jake. Stop talking. So, yeah, that's all. Bye. Thank you.